planning program. After months of saying it will not comply with new Trump administration rules for Title X, Planned Parenthood says the Trump administration has forced them out of the program, which provides reproductive health care for millions of low-income people. The new rules govern how providers can talk to patients about abortion. NPR's Sarah McCammon covers reproductive rights. She's with us now. Hey, Sarah.
Hi there.
So the backdrop here is the U.S. Court of Appeals decided on Friday that it would not block this Trump administration rule. And today we heard from Planned Parenthood and other groups, and they're out.
Right. A lot of clinics around the country that have been in this program for a long time say they're out of Title X as of today. And that is because of a deadline set by the Department of Health and Human Services to show that these groups who receive these funds are complying with the Trump administration rules. And you're right, a federal court said it would not block them. The regulations say that except in rare cases like rape, incest, or a medical emergency, Title X recipients cannot refer their patients for abortion or provide them. And we heard from Planned Parenthood acting president Alexis McGill-Johnson today. She says they won't comply with that rule. She says it's unethical and gets in the way of the doctor-patient relationship.
At Planned Parenthood, we refuse to cower to the Trump-Pence administration. We will not be bullied into withholding abortion information from our patients. Our patients deserve to make their own healthcare decisions, not to be forced to have Donald Trump or Mike Pence make those decisions for them.
And anyone who's followed this knows Planned Parenthood has been saying this for a while, but this is kind of the rubber meeting the road. McGill-Johnson says Planned Parenthood affiliates around the country that receive these funds are sending letters to the federal government today announcing their withdrawal from Title X. Also today, at least one other group, Maine Family Planning, said it's doing the same.
All right. So setting aside letters and all the legalese and policy issues, I mean, what does this mean if I am a woman and I rely on Planned Parenthood for services from birth control to pregnancy tests and so on?
Right. Well, Planned Parenthood has declined to put an exact dollar figure on what Title X means for their organization. So it's hard to know exactly how large of a share of their budget it is. But it is a big program, and Planned Parenthood serves 4 in 10 people who receive it. So for Planned Parenthood clinics, what they're saying is it could mean longer wait times for appointments. Some people may wait longer for care or go without it, may have to drive longer distances for treatment or pay more than they've paid in the past. In rural areas, the impact is likely going to be bigger. In Maine, for example, a state with a lot of rural areas, of course, Maine Family Planning is the only Title X grantee, and they again are withdrawing. I spoke with an attorney who's representing them in a lawsuit against this rule, and she said as many as 15 clinics could be forced to close in Maine if other funding sources can't be found. These groups are looking for other types of funding, but they say they cannot patch through forever.
President Trump and his supporters, are they counting this move today as a victory?
Definitely. President Trump and other Republicans have promised to defund Planned Parenthood, as they put it. They've campaigned on that. I talked to Doreen Denny of Concerned Women for America, a group that opposes abortion rights. She says no public dollars should go to Planned Parenthood if they are involved in abortion in any way.
Planned Parenthood certainly knew that they had a choice to make when they were first applied for grants this round. They knew that these rules could take effect, so this isn't a surprise to them.
And Denny and others would like to see other groups, including crisis pregnancy centers that counsel patients against abortion, get these funds. And they hope this is sort of a step toward that. Reproductive health advocates warn that this is really puncturing, though, the safety net that a lot of patients know.
Just briefly, Sarah, are we expecting more legal challenges to this Trump administration rule?
Well, there are several underway, and those will continue. We'll also be watching in the coming months to see what kinds of other organizations apply for and get Title X funds under these new rules.
All right, that is NPR's Sarah McCammon reporting on these latest developments with Planned Parenthood and Title X. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Hey, folks. Now, I've been sent this video or this story about 3 or 4 times. I guess because I've talked about it for the last almost year and a half, maybe almost 2 now. I remember when I saw the Ohio heartbeat bill going through its paces back in 2017. I think I mentioned it in passing. I think it was on a live stream. And I said that it probably would happen, or something like this would probably happen because white women weren't having enough babies. And they're having to import children from Latin America, which are harder to actually socialize than people actually born here. And me knowing how oligarchs think, not precisely, but have a good idea how oligarchs think, this doesn't surprise me. That if white women weren't having enough babies, they were actually going to roll back some of the rights that they have, especially reproductive. So the NPR story that they're actually phasing out or not funding Planned Parenthood like they did under Title X way back in 1970 under your then Congressman George Herbert Walker Bush. So now you're going to have millions and millions of women that are kicked off of the birth control plan or have to fund it by themselves. And in this environment where there's a whole lot of women that are, especially young women that aren't working, are not viable, don't have health care, that's going to mean that there's going to be there could be a flood of babies being born in the next year or two. Could be. So if they're going to roll back the reproductive rights, which are a mainstay of feminism as we speak, what's going to come next? Already they're starting to kind of equalize the custody of children, starting leaning more and more towards the favor of the father. I guess since the dude's going to have to pay for it and there's not enough men out there wanting to pay for it, I guess they're going to actually equal things out in child custody. I know they have in a few cases that I know personally, where they've gone after the father and the judges have actually batted it down. Remember me and Carib actually were going back and forth with this maybe a year and a half ago, and I was telling her that this was coming. As these heartbeat bills or these anti-abortion bills, I think it's like up to like up to 12 or 13 states now that have anti-abortion bills. And with this defunding of Planned Parenthood by the federal government, I do believe that a lot of states are actually going to go and do the exact same thing, which is defund Planned Parenthood. And the thing is that the abortion piece is not as important as the lack of contraceptives. That's one thing that Planned Parenthood does, is hand out a lot of contraceptives. And what happens when the contraceptives actually get cut off because the woman doesn't have medical care or can't take her pap smear and get prescribed birth control pills. So if I was a thinking man, and I am, I'd be looking to invest in companies that manufacture condoms, because there's going to be a ton of those sold. White guys normally don't wear them as much as black guys, but I see condoms in white guys' futures. So with the oligarchs actually doing this, what's going to happen? They're going to crack down on the women. Are they going to crack down on the men too? In other words, make you pay for more child support. I know with the heartbeat bill and the new test that can actually detect the DNA of the fetus after 8 weeks. So if you do impregnate a woman and she does get a test, she can actually, after child support, after 8 weeks, she can actually be pregnant and actually go after child support. Although I think the test is a little bit more expensive, but that's a possibility. In other words, normally you would have to wait at least a few months after the baby's born to actually get a child support order, like 3 or 4 months. But now, with the heartbeat bill passing, before the baby's even born, after about 8 weeks, they can actually file a child support order on you. So that's another thing men need to be careful of. But in the meantime, they're going after these particular rights. I wonder whether the rights are actually going to go after. Is it going to be with the Me Too, where they're not hiring women? Is it going to be the rolling back of affirmative action as far as women are concerned, as far as schooling and whatnot? Is radical feminism dead as far as the federal government is concerned? Or are women waiting for another president that's actually going to be more conducive? Somehow I don't think so. I think this is a wave that's going to happen at least until the fertility rate actually stabilizes. Because I think it was months ago, I actually showed a couple of charts. One especially where there was more white people dying than white people being born, and I knew right then and there that this was going to be an issue, and I knew that there was going to be a crackdown, and this is just the first of many, in my opinion. But as always, we'll see. We'll see what the future holds, because we're not fortune tellers around here, although we do read breadcrumbs instead of tea leaves. But with that, my friends, that's all I got for right now. This is BGS out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.